Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. If you've been on the journey of learning Portuguese for a while, you probably have a pretty solid grasp of your nouns, and I bet you've spent hours conjugating those verbs. But there's actually a secret weapon to true language fluency, and it literally lies in some of the shortest words in the dictionary. Today, we're focusing entirely on Portuguese prepositions. These are the tiny but incredibly mighty words that act as the true key to fluency. They're what transform choppy, broken phrases into beautiful, natural-sounding sentences.
Okay, so let's dive right into a baseline definition. What exactly is a preposition in Portuguese? Well, simply put, they are the essential words we use for connecting words and phrases together. Honestly, think of them like the reliable bridge or the fundamental glue in your sentences. Without them, your ideas are just kind of stranded on separate islands. A preposition reaches out, grabs a noun or a pronoun, and connects it to the rest of your thought, giving the whole sentence structure, relationship, and, well, meaning.
Now, I wanted to establish the stakes early on here, the key to fluency. Why does this matter so much? Because look, you can memorize all the vocabulary in the world, but if you don't know how to connect those words properly, you're going to sound a bit like a robot. Just stringing words together without the right prepositions is pretty jarring to a native speaker. Mastering these little connectors is the absolute difference between merely speaking words and achieving true, seamless conversational fluency.
Moving on to Section 1, the glue of Portuguese. We're going to look at the 8 essential building blocks you need to navigate almost any daily conversation.
Section 2 is our core connectors. Here, we'll explore time, origin, and means through the big 3 prepositions, de, and por.
Let's start with em, which acts primarily as the English word in. Take the phrase, Eu moro em São Paulo. I live in São Paulo. In this primary use, it does the heavy lifting to indicate location, basically setting a quick, clear scene. Someone is stating exactly where they're situated. You'll also use em heavily to indicate time, placing an event squarely in a specific month or year.
Next up in our core connectors is de, and this is a really fascinating one. It serves as a bridge for possession, origin, or the material something is made out of. It translates primarily to the English word of. For instance, o carro de João é vermelho. The car of João is red. Notice how de elegantly connects the car to João, establishing ownership instantly. It's short, it's sweet, and it's absolutely vital for expressing relationships between things.
Our third core connector is por, which primarily translates to by. It's the word you reach for to express means, cause, or duration. For example, o livro foi escrito por Machado de Assis. The book was written by Machado de Assis. Por is that essential link that tells us exactly who performed the action, really explaining the how or the who behind an event.
Let's move to Section 3, movement, purpose, and limits. It's time to start navigating space and time.
Take a look at the preposition até. What's really interesting about this one is how até creates a strict, uncompromising limit in time or space. It translates to until. Vou trabalhar até às 18 horas. I will work until 6 p.m. Can you feel the finality in that sentence? It's much like the rigid end of a workday. Até essentially draws a line in the sand, whether that's a physical boundary on a map or a strict deadline on a clock.
Our next preposition of movement and purpose is para. I want you to paint a mental picture right now. Imagine physically handing someone a beautifully wrapped gift. That motion perfectly encapsulates para. It indicates direction, purpose, or recipient, primarily meaning to or for. Este presente é para você. This gift is for you. Para is essentially the arrow pointing your action toward its final destination.
Section 4, adding nuance. Now we're going to look at prepositions of inclusion, exclusion, and position. Let's look at goal. Take this highly relatable example right here. Eu gosto de café com leite. I like coffee with milk. Com simply translates to with. It's your absolute go-to word for indicating accompaniment, someone or something joining another, or for indicating the specific instrument used to do something. It's really the ultimate preposition of inclusion.
Now, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, we have sem. The crucial point to remember here is that sem expresses the total absence of something, so it naturally translates to without. Look at this beautifully dramatic, expressive sentence. Não consigo viver sem música. I can't live without music. It's the perfect word for exclusion, highlighting exactly what is lacking or missing from a scenario. To finish out this nuanced group, we have entry. Imagine for a second you're looking down at a physical street layout and you need to give someone directions. You'd use entre, which directly means between.
A loja fica entre o banco e o mercado. The store is between the bank and the market. See how it perfectly separates two distinct elements, pinpointing a position squarely in the middle?
All right, Section 5, the contextual chameleon effect, the twist where context changes everything. Here's the major plot twist of our explainer. These foundational building blocks completely change their rules based on context.
Let's look at how this works in practice. M actually fractures depending on the situation. While its primary definition equals in, it can suddenly shift based on the surrounding words to translate to on or at. It literally adapts to its environment. One tiny word handling three distinct spatial concepts. Crazy, right?
We actually see that exact same chameleon effect with para. We learned para primarily means to, showing direction. But depending on the sentence structure and the speaker's intent, it can also mean for, just like in our gift example earlier. You really have to let the context be your guide here.
And it doesn't stop there. Let's quickly fire through some of these other alternate chameleon states. Por isn't just by. It can mean through, for or because of. Ate isn't just until. It can mean up to or as far as, stretching its physical limit. De isn't just of. It frequently means from, showing a starting point. And entre isn't strictly between two things. It can actually mean among when you're referring to a larger group of multiple elements. Embracing this contextual complexity rather than fighting it is exactly what bridges that gap from novice to fluent.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From the essential glue of the Portuguese language to the wild, shape-shifting nature of these vital little words. You've seen firsthand how they establish time, direct movement, and completely change their meaning based on their surroundings. The entire path to fluency is built on these connectors. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. Which preposition will you master first? Pick one, look for it in context, and start building those bridges. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy learning.